Hey, what's up, stream keepers, and welcome back to my channel. And in today's episode, I actually want to share with you guys one of the topics that is actually very important because COVID situation has the a lot of things has been easing up, travels has been easing up. There's a lot of people that's been traveling, starting to travel again. So I think this will be a good time to actually share with you guys some of my processes in terms of getting the stream tanks prepped for your long trip ahead. So before we dive into this today's topic, I actually wanted to give a shout out to those guys who have been very supportive of my channel, and of course the local guys, the local breeders that has all have been very supportive in terms of my knowledge sharing and the direction that has been ongoing. Really appreciate it. And in today's topic, like I mentioned, we want to dive right into the topic on what are you supposed to do before you actually have a travel. And I've been traveling for work and stuff like that, on vacation, on staycation and things like that. So I often get the question around, what do you actually normally do? What do you normally prep before you actually go on a long vacation? Or if you actually want to kind of like block your calendar like in the next 7 days, that you only want to do some of the things that is very critical, that you have something important to attend to. It doesn't have to be a travel, it can be something that you want to attend to, like for example you want to travel to somewhere, or there are guests that's actually coming for the next 3 to 5 days. You actually need to spend that kind of time to host them and things like that. So how do you actually prep the tank ready for all these absence, where you leave the tanks alone, where you really let the process and the tank actually do their magic. So the very first thing that I often do before I actually go on a long travel, is actually doing water changes. And this water changes is not the regular weekly water change. The reason why I'm saying that is because I actually kind of step up the water changes regime. Like for example, if I do usually 5 or 10% per week, weekly, what I'll do is that I will do, instead of one time, I will do up to 3 times of water changes, but um, lesser. Like for example, if I do 10% in a weekly, what I'll do is that I will do 5% every 2 or 3 days, leading up to that travel. Like for example, if I'm going to travel on a Sunday, and I'm going to start prepping on the Sunday itself, the previous Sunday. So I will do like Sunday water change, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you know, and then I will travel. So that kind of water change regime, very little but very frequent. The reason is to actually kind of get that nitrate level down to where it's a comfortable level for your long trip. So what I'll also do other than water changes is, if check for any clog of filtration. I think that's very important because you don't want to leave the place and then realize that, oh, my filtration has stopped. And I think for a short period of time, like maybe 2 or 3 days, where the filtration stopped, I think that's perfectly fine. I have experienced it myself where the filter actually stopped for 2 or 3 days. No, nothing drastic happened because the tank parameters, the process that you set in place is working. So the filtration actually enhances the process. So it's not so much about having which kind of filter, which kind of everything. So the key here is that everything else is actually supplementing the process. Like for example, you have your filtration, right? You can have a sponge filter, you can have hang-on filter, you can have everything else. But if your tank is not stable, you're adding a lot of other things into the tank. Regardless of what kind of filtration you have, it actually doesn't it doesn't aid in the process of having the tank do its work, its magic. So in other words, for example, like if I have a filter that stopped working for 2 or 3 days, the tank carries on its life and things like that. There is no drastic big changes to what will actually happen to the tank itself, because the tank itself is very stable with all the streams in there. So it's very critical, and I emphasize this is because uh, adding too many things into the tank actually disrupt the entire ecosystem, the balance in the tank. So anything that you add in, you will kind of like trigger that tip off that balance from the equilibrium. So that's the reason why we have that process to actually guide us through times like when your filter is not working well, or you're gonna on a long vacation or a long time where you are not going to be around. So what are you going to do with it? So that process actually helps, that simplicity process actually helps to prepare you and prepare the streams to be to let the tank actually work for itself. So that's number two. So the third thing that I actually do prior to having a long travel is also to have the biofilm ready. So what I'll do is that I will actually do a soak of my calyx ball 3 days prior to that Sunday. Not the Sunday that I'm leaving, but the Sunday that I'm actually starting to do the preparation. It can be a Saturday or a Sunday. So I will do maybe on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I'll put in maybe on a Sunday, or I'll put in on a Saturday. That's fine. The 3 day soak. So have that 3 day soak, and then you put the ball in there, and have 1 week of observation before you travel out. So the reason for that is because you don't want something to happen in the tank when you're away. So you want to have to prep the tank ready for your vacation or things like that. And the tank has to always be at a tip-top condition when you leave. So for these three things, these three very important things, the first thing is about having your filtration. You need to check your filtration, and then your simplicity in your process and things like that. And of course you have your calyx ball in place. So with that kind of process in place, you do your water changes. Instead of 1 week once water change, you do 3 times of water changes at a lesser frequency, lesser amount, but higher frequency. So that actually helps to remove the nitrates as well. So with that in mind, you have all this in place, you can actually safely travel up to a week, 7 days, 8 days without even feeding them, right? Because you have sufficient biofilm in the tank. You can even add catapang leaves in the tank and things like that. You have the snails there to help you remove all the the algae wall and things like that. So when you come back on day 7 or day 8, then your tank will still be there. Your streams will still be there. The process will work itself, and you don't have to worry about what am I going to do if, let's say, something happened to the tank, or something happened to the filtration and things like that. So this is some of the prep that you actually have to do prior to your travel. And it's the same as cycling of the tank. You do all the things up front. You do all the things up front, and when you finish the cycle, you release the stream, and then you let the streams do its work, right? It's the same for travel. You do all the work up front, and then when you travel, you let the tank do its work. So it's always doing all the work up front, where you invest a lot of time and energy to actually create the environment for the streams to be ready for that long absence, where you will not be meddling with them, or you'll be away. So you come back on day 7, day 8, that will be fine. Anything shorter, like 3 or 4 days, that's really not much of an issue, as long as your process is right. And another question comes to me is that if, let's say, you have extended travel, like for example 15 days. Some of travels that I do is up to 15 days, up to 16 days before I actually come back to where I am. So the tanks will definitely look a little bit more wild in that sense, because for the long period of time, there's not I actually have to ask some help for that 16 days, because it will not go well without somebody helping to feed for 16 days period, right? So you can do a feed on the day 8 and a feed on the day 15, right? So something like that. So you can do day 8, and when you're back on day 15, you can actually feed them. So you actually have to ask somebody to help you feed once every 8 days or something like that. You have to kind of manage it through depending on the schedule and depending on availability of anybody uh, that is able to help you feed in the course of a longer travel. However, if let's say you do not find anybody that is capable of actually helping you do it, then definitely you will have to add like katapang leaves, and add you have your mosses, you have your frog bits, and things like that, so that it kind of enhances that biofilm creation, so that your streams will continue to feed when you are away. So I think that kind of like covers most of what you need to actually do in preparation to a long travel. But keep in mind that one of the things that you can actually also consider is that you have an auto top up system where the water will keep flowing down using a top up valve, so that your water level will always maintain at where it is supposed to be. However, I don't have that habit. I don't have that built into my process. The reason is because I will just let the water evaporate, and because in Singapore the evaporation rate is not that bad. Probably when I come back from a 15 days travels, the water will come down maybe like this. So it's quite a bit. However, it doesn't hurt the stream, so there is actually not much of a fluctuation in terms of the water parameters. So I just let the water evaporate. I will on purpose actually fill the tank to almost to the brim, where it will then start to reduce. So what am I going to do when I come back? So the first thing you got to do when I come, so normally for me, what I do the first thing I come back is first I will start to top up the water, because the evaporation rate is fairly quite a little bit. So that's the reason why I have to quickly fill up the water and do a slight water change over a next 3 days period. So I will do like a 5%, and then another 5%, and another 5%. So that is to help to remove that excess nitrate built up over the last 15 days. So that's what I will actually do, and then of course I'll feed them as well, and then after that wash them, grow if there's any differences in that. So you don't have to worry if you are planning to go on a long vacation, more than 10 days. Then you have to look at some of the extra parameters or extra efforts that you need to do in order for you to come back with the streams alive. However, I think long story short is that the streams will be very hardy. So as long as you do not add too many things in the tank, keep the process simple, so that the streams can actually do what they normally do, and there's not too many interference in terms of external interference with your hands or your things that you put inside the tank that can actually disrupt the equilibrium of the tank water parameters. So that's all for this video. I actually wanted to share this with you because I'm also going to travel for the next quite a bit of time. So that's the reason why I wanted to put this out, to actually share with you guys just in time for any travels that you guys are planning to do. So thank you guys for watching, and if you like this video, remember to give a thumbs up, and for those who are new, please remember to subscribe to my channel, and until next time, peace out.